Reusable actions are most used in QTP automation. Under reusable action, when we call it as a reusable action, what is reusable action is all about? So reusable actions in our test case documentation, we might have a field called precondition or a prerequisite. Reusable action is all about automating those part, prerequisite or precondition. That is called reusable action. Advantage of reusable action is these actions can be used in all subsequent actions. That is a subsequent scripts as well. That is a major advantage of reusable action. By default, QTP creates all the action as reusable action. As the thumb rule of automation says, reusable action should not have checkpoints. Reusable action should not have checkpoints. That is a thumb rule. Reusable actions, as we see it in our test conditions, are prerequisite and precondition doesn't have an expected result. The same way, checkpoints means comparing expected with actual. Reusable action should not have a expected result, because if it fails, everything, the actions that uses this action, reusable action, all will fail. We unnecessarily give more errors rather than focus on that particular error. So in that condition, reusable actions should not have a checkpoints. Then what is the purpose? It has to bring the base state in the application. Can I have multiple reusable action? Answer is yes, I can have multiple reusable action. Another thumb rule it says is one reusable, avoid calling within one reusable action another action. Avoid calling within one reusable action another action. This is to again get into the looping mode, right? These are all some of the prerequisite to before we get into the reusable action. There are two types of reusable action that we will see. One is reusable action without a parameter. Another is reusable action with parameter. We start now reusable action without a parameter, how to create it, how to use it in the subsequent actions. These two we will see now. I am clicking on action, right click, action properties. I am renaming the action as login flight. I am creating a login screen as my reusable action. Login flight, I created that action. Yes, I have created. I like to record. Before I start my recording, I close this flight reservation. Under reusable action, we will also see a utility objects called system util, and also how to manage unexpected events. I record now. I start my recording. I say OK. I am starting my recording using start option. I am selecting the flight that is appearing here. This flight I am invoking now. Invoking option is nothing but system_util.run. System_util.run will invoke the application. I am typing the username. I am typing the password. I say OK. You might have noticed as I typed the password, it has come with not set event, set secure event. I say now stop. Now after this click of OK button, The application, opening up application also takes some time. This is also another synchronization. I like to wait until this application is open. How to do it? So now the object is flight reservation is the object. I want to, the completion of the login happens only if that flight window opens up. So to check that, I can use synchronization called .exist. .exist is also another synchronization. Step generator. I am using step generator now. I choose the object. The object is not in the repository. This is my repository content. I selected that button, object button, right hand side. That brought me here. In this window, since I have not performed any action on object repository, sorry, flight reservation, that object is not added. I am now adding that object using hand symbol. I have added that object. What is that you want to do with that object? After you get that object in the object selection, I am now say OK. In this, I am now choosing the operation called .exist. .exist is also a synchronization method. This will wait for the existence of that object. You might wonder why we have not in order number, why we have not used .exist. There object exists already, whereas we have to wait for the property. That is actual synchronization point. Here we are waiting for the presence of the object. So .exist, you can wait say for 60 seconds. I return it to a variable var underscore exist. This variable will return with true if that object exists. So if var underscore exist is not equal to true, what you want to do? I want my QTP to end the run. I don't want him to continue. Exit run. This is one method available. Exit test is another method available. Exit run is obsolete. You are not supposed to use test run, exit run. It will work, but it is no longer supported. For the compatibility reason with the previous version of the QTP, he has the exit run. So in quick exit test, I am giving a return value. Could not load the flight reservation window even after wait of 60 seconds. Here the difference is it will not wait for 60 seconds always. It will wait for 60 seconds only if that flight reservation doesn't exist. If it exists, as soon as it exists, he will come to the next line. That is actually synchronization. I am synchronizing with the application. As soon as the synchronization returns a positive, I move to the next line. Now, this is how I created a reusable script. In this script, there are two parts. After I click on login, I am ensuring that the page is open for the next script to take over. Once that page exists, then only I'll leave this particular action. Once this is done, I create one more action, or you want to run the script, execute and check whether it works. You can do that. I now run the script. You can see now system util run invokes the application. It is like in the run prompt, type with the path. You can see that run prompt invokes the application. The same thing he does. Inserts the John, Mercury, Now he is waiting at line number 5. As soon as the returns with the true, he completes the script. So flight reservation is open now. What if, okay, next I will go to another reusable action that is called logout. Call to new action. Here I am going to insert call to new action, reusable action, reusable action creating logout flight. Name of the reusable action, logout flight. Again, it's an independent action. I say OK. I record. Here there is no logout option, so I am closing the screen. That is equivalent to my logout. I logged out. I stop my reusable action. This is all the reusable actions can be kept in a separate folder from the framework perspective. It has to be a separate folder. Under this, I create a folder reusable actions. This is not reusable function, this is reusable actions. Under this reusable action, I would like to store the values or the scripts that I have created. It can be in a single script, it can be in a multiple script. All reusable actions can be in a single script, can be in a multiple script. I'll say flight is my action name. Flight reservation is my application or the module for which you are creating the reusable. You can store those under that name. So this reusable action, I like to use it in the subsequent script, another script, not on the same script. I am going to new script. Under this new script, I like to use the previously called action because this script requires a login function. I don't like to record that login function. I need to use this login which we have already have it in the another action. Let me first make this action as a non-reusable action. It's not a non-reusable, it's a non-reusable action. I say OK. I like to call reusable action to this script. I go to insert, go to call to existing action. Call to existing action will allow you to call all reusable action available for you to use and into this script. Now I am selecting the folder where I have created the reusable action, that is reusable action folder, and the script in which I have created the reusable action, that is flight. Choose the login flight. Now it is after the current step because action 1 likes to use or call login flight. So I am putting it under this action. I am putting this action within action. You have a run action. You can see the way the script is generated. As I create a reusable action, by default he goes to this page. This is part of external action and here you cannot edit. Even if I try to type, I cannot type. Reason being, reusable action is created in the some other script. I am not allowed to edit it in this action. If I have to edit, I have to go back to the flight, that name script, open that, edit it, automatically that will get reflected here. So here it is only a reference shown. That is why you can see it comes under external actions. Now action 1 is my action of this test. In this action, you see the syntax run action login flight. I run this now. You can see he opens up the window. He executes. He opened up the flight reservation. As soon as the flight reservation comes up, he comes to this base state is now ready. In this reaction, I like to record. I record one inserting of order. I have recorded now. As soon as I create insertion, I base state. Now after this I want to close because my beginning of the action says you log in. So I need to end the login, insert, call to existing action. This is equivalent to logout function. So I click on call to existing action. After the current step, while in recording also I can call another reusable action to my main script. Right? Unfortunately, I have added the same. So insert, call to existing action, select the script that has reusable actions, logout flight. Now at the end of test it is doing. I'm sorry because I'm in the wrong place. I go back to the action. So this login flight is not required. I go to insert. I go to call to existing action. Now choose the flight, logout flight after the current step. So logout flight. Now in action 1, you can see now first line calling the login, last line calling the logout. I stop my recording. So if you see in the action 1, these two actions are being mapped. So one is login flight, another is logout flight. So these two actions are binded to the main action. Now if I run the script, let us see what happens. I run the script. Please note in my behind there is already flight reservation opened available. I run the script. Now this run action creates one more instance of flight reservation. Even though it exists, he doesn't bother. He creates one more instance. So this is one of the issues that you may face. Right? Now you can see the object is failed because you have more than two objects present. Script is failed. So how to take care of this? This is an accidental one, but can I prevent it in my maintenance of the script itself? I am again conveying you what is important point that you need to note. In the action 1, it always calls the new instance of flight reservation that we know. What if already the instance is available? What I need to do? That I have not communicated to QTP. If I run the script, by default, script will try to create one more action, one more flight reservation window. I don't want that to happen, even though I can tell my end user to ensure before running this action, all the previous applications, if it is already open, need to be closed. I can instruct. But if possible to manage it in the script itself, I should allow the script to manage. That is the ruggability of my automation. To do that, I am coming to the external action login flight, even though I cannot edit it here, but I can explain. Line number 1, I know this line number 1 invokes a application to be tested. I can check at this stage before I invoke the application, is there any instance available, already opened instance available under test environment. If I am able to do that test, if it exists, I close those processes because I may not know how many instances are available. I cannot instruct QTP, you keep one instance, remaining instance and all you close. It becomes more complicated. Rather, I know line number 1 invokes a fresh instance. If I have a previous instance already created, I like to close all the instances of the application. That is easy to manage. The logic remains same. Now, to do that, I cannot edit it in this window. I know what I need to do, what is the logic I need to apply. I save the script. I call this as a main script, and main script is not a reusable action. So I go to the scripts window. Under this script, I call it as main script calling the reusable action. I just saved it. I go back, open that reusable script because I need to change that reusable. This is my flight. I choose open. Here it is editable because this is the parent. In this login flight, I like to now, if this application, that is line number 2 now, before I execute line number 2, I need to, this is called utility function, system util dot. You can see now the series of methods available. In case if the process exists with this title F capital or capital, because I am checking with title of the window. If this process with this window title exists, I like to close, that is my method. What I am trying to do is in the task manager, I am going to the task manager. Inside the task manager, the image name that you see is called process name. I don't want process name. I am going with process title. Right? So if this process with the title flight reservation exists, I like to close all the process. I have started now. You can see there are two flight 4a.exe appears. I like to close both in case if it exists. Right? So now system util is another important utility function object which has a method close process by window title as well. So I am giving the title here and I am telling QTP to close this process title. Once this is done, my script is now ready. So I can come back, open my main script. I saved it over here. I come back to the scripts, main calling script. Main script is the name I have given. Open it. Now if I run the script, run action login flight, will try to invoke the application. Before it invokes the application, it checks, line number 1 checks whether flight reservation with the title flight space or capital F capital reservation exists. If it exists, it closes that window. Now, so I run the script now, see what happens. I am executing it now. I click on run settings. I say OK. Meantime, you can notice that there are two flight reservation window already opened. I say okay. So run action, it goes to the login flight. In login flight, it tries to execute that action and turn off computer comes for first time. Click on cancel. Then you can see that he has closed all the flight reservation. Cancel. Now you can see that it invokes the fresh instance, and that fresh instance is able to manage your normal script run. Very important concept, useful concept as well. After insertion, logout fly closes the application. If more than one instance are not available, he doesn't bother. He continues with normal mode of run. This is another important concept from the perspective of reusable script. Reusable script, you need to ensure whenever the reusable script is called, it is ensure it is not getting into a different state, right? This is about reusable action.